Hey y'all, it's Molly here. This video is an estate haul. The family that we got this from is a family married into our family. I love this family so much, and the items that we're getting ready to unbox are pretty incredible. There's some very unique items, and the coolest part about this video is that you're going to hear their son Doug talking about the family, about the estate, about going through the estate process. If you haven't been through that yet in your life, you will at some point. It is not always easy. So he talks about some of the decisions they made. And the whole time in the video, Nick and I will be unboxing a lot of these items. This is nowhere near the full estate. They disperse this in many ways, which I think was very smart, and we talk about that in the video. But I am thrilled to be trusted with the items that we were trusted with. Some are already listed in the Consignment eBay store. Some have already sold, and we have many more to get live listed, as it was a lot of items, and they will be listed in the near future. But I really hope you enjoy this format and enjoy hearing from the son of the parents who these items come from. It is an incredible family. Doug does well talking about his family, but as anybody who talks about their family does, he holds back because they truly, truly are an incredible family. His parents were amazing people who were all about giving back and community and loving everyone. And that has gone down to his children, which is why I adore them. They are the same. But I hope you enjoy this. Please be sure to like, subscribe, leave comments. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. And if you see any really cool items, but stay tuned because there's some great treasures that we share. Bye, y'all. All right, I am here with Doug Pritchett, and Nick and I are going to do an unboxing and show you this amazing group of items from an estate. And I've got Doug here because this estate is from his family. So I'm going to have Doug tell you who his family is and where this estate comes from.
University of Alabama yearbook from 1900. This was part of this was Doug's great-grandfather's sophomore yearbook.
Ooh. So you want to know what's really cool? I'm going to tell you this about this. So Doug, the son who reached out to us, this is his father that passed, is married to Nick's first cousin, Pop. There's a long story. If we ever go out for drinks, ask me to tell you more, because she used to be my sister-in-law. So that'll just give you a hint of how kind of crazy our lives are. But as I was looking through this at Doug's great-grandfather, right? Mm-hmm. As I was looking through this book at what everything was, I was like, oh my gosh, this is really cool. It has write-ups of the professors in here. And one of the professors is C.H. Barnwell, professor of English, Charles Hayward Barnwell. Well, he is a relative of mine. So Charles Hayward Barnwell, if I went through the family tree, which I will at some point, we'll figure out how we are related. But my family all comes from the Charleston area. From my mom's side, we're all my mother was Alicia Barnwell Hancock. We're Barnwells, we're Haywards. That is all my family tree. And as I read it, he was a student of South Carolina College and graduated with a degree of Bachelor of Arts in 1887. So how cool is that Doug's great-grandfathers had an English professor who was a relative of mine. And now here we are, family. Anyway, thought I'd share that little tidbit. Go ahead, next.
So
Hello. So this is Doug Pritchett, and my father and mom were Harry and Allison Pritchett, and they were Papa and Mimi to all of us in the later years and all the grandkids. And they lived a very long life, and we're thankful for that. And they really had a lot of adventures in their life, and some of this stuff it goes along with some of those adventures. We moved a lot over the years, and they were very, they always had their eye out for cool things, artistic things. They had a lot of amazing art on the walls, and trinkets, treasures that were, sitting around that were not just little Walmart items. They were things that were bought at art shows and things like that. So it's pretty cool stuff.
I have no idea who that is, but that is cool.
Oh, that is Catherine Medina Beeson Partlow, circa 1860 to 1930.
Cool. Hey.
They both grew up in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. They knew each other since they were born. We have pictures of them together when they're 3 years old.
I love it.
And they're gorgeous pictures. And they didn't start dating till the end of their senior year in high school. And but they were always like best friends. And their parents were friends. And so I have a lot of history there.
Little hymnal. And when I say little, they fit in the palm of your hand.
Tell me so you said you moved around a lot. Why was that? What did your dad do? What did your parents do for a living?
My dad was an Episcopal priest. He started out, he went to the Virginia Seminary, and that's when I was born in 1964. He graduated and then started in Birmingham, Alabama. He moved to Huntsville, Alabama. We moved to Sewanee, Tennessee, back to Birmingham. Then we all left to go to college, and they went to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, he had a really big church in downtown called All Saints Episcopal Church, and he became well known within the church just because of how big this place was and what he accomplished there. And that opened up some doors, and he ended his career in New York City at St. John the Divine Cathedral. And they were always going to New York, so this was a really fun place for them to go for the last several years of his career. And they met several amazing people, through that New York connection, that spot. And he was very much a community person. What he was known for is bringing people together, and it was not a very preachy atmosphere. Even though he's an Episcopal priest, it was more about the community, bringing people together and helping them, just to get through their daily times. And
which is one of the things I absolutely loved and admired about him.
Yeah, he was very good at that. And we were always that way, very tight-knit family. My brother, who was the oldest, Sonny, and my sister Margaret, who was in the middle, and I was the youngest. And we were always very tight together, and we still are. And it's nice to have that. A lot of people, like my dad used to always say, we're blessed because he knows people where their kids are all over the place. They never communicate. We've always, had a lot of communication, and we've been together, and we'll continue to be that way because this is an end of an era for us. Both of my parents are gone as of January, and
for sure.
Although we're very sad about it, we're super duper blessed to have had them for so long, and everything that they gave us, not monetarily, but just the way we are as people, it all came from them. So it's really, something I'll always treasure.
We have Arts and Ideas, Holt. Ooh, Huckleberry Finn. Now, y'all, obviously we have a lot of research to do. William Faulkner, A Fable. Boom. We have Winston Churchill, Youth, 1874 to 1900.
Hemingway, For Who the Bell Tolls.
Hemingway, From Who the Bell Tolls. God, they're all so old. I was going to ask, having just gone through the estate part of this, any advice you would give to others who might watch this, who, as they come to this time in their life, having to deal with somebody's estate? I know you guys looked at several different processes and actually used several different processes. I did it, as many of our viewers know, with my mom, and it was different because it was just me. Well, and Nick helping, but I mean, just me to make decisions about stuff.
Right.
You had siblings making decisions about stuff. Anything?
Yeah, I mean, we were lucky that in their later years, they sort of downsized somewhat, and a lot of the furniture, you know, they had big houses for a long time, but then in the end, they had smaller, like high-rise apartment places that wouldn't hold as much, so they dispersed it. We got a lot of it then, so that it wasn't like it was a giant house full of stuff. But we came to find that my dad and my mom too kept a lot of very amazing treasures. Like, for instance, finding letters that my mom wrote to my dad her freshman year of college when they were apart. She wrote every single day.
Wow.
And all those letters still exist.
And you didn't know that until y'all found them?
Never seen them before.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
So, but it's hard. The part that's really hard about that is, okay, yes, you want to have some of those. We scanned some, we took some pictures, but it's a whole box full.
What do you do with them?
What do you do? And it's difficult, but you know, you just have to move on, and some of that stuff gets thrown away and you keep a little bit here and there. But in terms of, that was the hardest part, but finding these amazing parts of history that it's like, how do you throw this away? But, you know, we also can't just keep everything.
Yeah, you just can't. It's hard. I think scanning it is a good way to keep some pieces of it, for sure.
And we've done that. We're still doing that. And it's nice to have that technology.
Yeah, that's a smart way to do that. I went through that with my dad's estate, his camera collection, which I had the majority of his amazing cameras. And I just carried them around year after year. What was I ever going to do with them? Like, I took photography classes, but with the way that things are digitized, are you ever really going to pull those out? No. And I was so torn, and I wanted a new camera. And I remember going to a camera shop in Philly, and I brought all the stuff, and the guy was so nice. And in the end, what he ended up doing was he bought the majority of it from me. I got a whole beautiful new camera with a bunch of lenses and all that. But what was really cool was that without me knowing it, he put them all in a light box and took professional studio photos of all of Dad's cameras and gave them to me on a disc so that I would have them in photo form, right?
Perfect.
So kind of that same thing. Like, I really don't need to lug these around, but at least now I have the visual reminder of what his collection was. So it's pretty cool.
You know, when you're going through all that stuff, the emotions are all over the place. I mean, happy, sad, reminiscent, and remembering these old times you haven't thought about in 100 years. And it's all good, but it's not easy, you know, to relive that. But I'm so glad that we did, and we were all doing it together as a family still. So, you know. The thing that we always go back to, though, it's the end of an era. You know, all the stuff is being dispersed to different places. Yeah, they're gone, and you know, it's interesting.
Yeah, interesting is one way to put it. Weird, I don't know. It is. I had another question, I lost it. So, tell us the ways that you disperse these items. What different areas did they go? I mean, obviously people are going to see our unboxing here of some things that we have, but what was that process like?
With grateful appreciation to the Reverend Dr. Harry H. Pritchett Jr., Baccalaureate Speaker, 1996. This was from Finster School, Atlanta, silver.
Well, a lot of the stuff we sort of had a mini lottery, and we just picked, you know, what we wanted, and we have three siblings picking, and you know, luckily there was nothing that we were fighting over. There was not one piece that we thought, everybody wants it and we're gonna have to just do a lottery. It was pretty much, okay, that's good. And so that was, as much as I stressed over that, it did not turn out that bad.
That's good.
So that was the first part. We did that, so then we knew what we were all taking.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had a lot of smaller stuff that we kind of all gathered and said, well, what are we going to take? Because we wanted some of that, fun stuff too. And we sort of split that up, but there's a lot left over. So that's a lot of the stuff that will be in these boxes. We did have an estate sale person that we had some really fine upscale things that they're actually selling for us, that they, it was in Atlanta. This was all in Atlanta, so we just wanted to keep it local. And some of it was very big and hard to move, but they moved it. And so that's some old furniture that that hopefully we'll get some money for. And
I would think in the Atlanta area, they should do well. And now I would love to hear a report from you down the road, but I would think an Atlanta estate sale with the items that your parents had are going to do really, really well.
Yeah.
For sure there. It's a good place.
Yeah, and we had everything appraised, but appraisals are just that. They're really only worth what someone will buy them for.
Correct.
But the silver, we had some silver people come in. A lot of the silver had been downsized and dispersed, and when they were downsizing, but there was definitely several pieces there, and we sold them all the sterling to one person, and we got what we got, and it wasn't like it was a ton, because silver's not nearly as worth as much as it used to be.
Right.
And same with with these really old China patterns that were there and beautiful, but it's just not something that people use as much anymore. So they're not worth as much, even though they're worth a lot. They're only worth as what you can sell them for. So really,
see, y'all hear this? I don't even need to educate him. He already knows it. Can't tell you how many people we educate in this business about how it's really, I know that, when you bought it, it was worth this, but no, it's sad. Nobody uses the beautiful china, the sterling silver. It is sad because it's beautiful stuff, but you can't get kids, grandkids, nobody wants it.
Right.
Nobody wants it. It's really hard. Most people that do want it because they are upcycling. They're using it for crafting projects, and they're, mosaicing or sewing patterns with stuff. And that's typically where those things will go, or making rings out of silver jewelry. I mean, silver utensils get turned into jewelry is what I'm really trying to say. Yeah, But that's also a great way to keep it. I'm all for upcycling too, for sure.
Yeah, and some of the furniture that had gotten a little bit old and it's not fine, it's just, usable couches and things like that. The facility where my dad was living, they have something called the furniture store there, and you donate it to them, and then anybody can come down and pay a little bit for if they need a new couch or something. So there's several pieces that went down there. And then we had, some things that we just, were not even worth trying to sell, that went to Goodwill. Not a whole lot of that. Most of it is either here with you or at that estate sale, or, split up between us.
Yeah. Well, I think this, I'm going to say first, thank you for chatting with me.
Of course.
Hanging out and chatting. I think that it's neat to be able to, I've done other estates, but I've never recorded somebody to give some of the provenance to the pieces, a little bit of the family history that goes with the pieces. So I think our viewers will like hearing a little bit about them and kind of knowing their story. So that was really cool. And for sharing the estate sale process, not the estate sale, but the whole going through the estate process, because a lot of people have been through it or know they're going to go through it soon. And it's always good to hear the process that other people go through for ideas. I think you guys did a phenomenal job of how you broke it up into the different spaces for it to go. I think you guys did a great job with that. So
Well, we're very fortunate to have a company like yours. That resource has been super helpful because, a lot of this stuff may have just been given to Goodwill, which is a great cause and everything too, but why not,
yeah,
like you said, try to, people enjoy getting stuff that, they didn't know they could get.
yeah. And we love rehoming. We love seeing people find something they've been searching for, and all of a sudden we got it in a state and put it out there, and it's made their day. So,
well, the thought of this stuff being in new homes and being treasures for other people is a wonderful thought, and I'll always treasure that.
well, good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad. That's why we love doing what we do.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, thank you so much, Doug Pritchett.
You're welcome. Love you.
Love you. Look at those. Those would be
Look at the
great
flowers,
for
right?
Easter. Little stains, but you know what? Unfortunately, that's to be expected.
Holiday ones.
Holiday hand towels. And are these placemats fun? Oh, there's a hole in that one.
Blue placemats.
No, more placemats and napkins.
Look at that.
Yeah, we have to go through them. The old linen ones to have some brown stains, people will soak those, but some of these that aren't that old and valuable and have stains will probably just let go, but there's a ton. Right, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this estate video. I know it was kind of long, but I love that Doug was willing to get on there and give you some of the family history. I just think it's neat when we can share that kind of thing. So I hope you enjoyed it all, and let us know in the comments if you like this style and if we get future estates. If you want us to do it this way again, or just make it a quick pop-up kind of video. Let us know how you feel about it. Thanks, y'all.
Cheers.
Cheers.